Welcome to Madden on the Line, presented by Crosscheck Media Biz Talk Today TV. I'm Jo Madden, and you guys know the deal. If there's money on the board, we're paying attention. The Sweet 16 is here, and this is when the madness really does shift. The chaos doesn't disappear, but everything gets a lot sharper. Today, we're breaking down where the shockers could come from, the best bets right now, and how the market is reacting. Plus, we saw last night the Dodgers and last night we saw the Yankees and the Giants in action. Max Fried came out nice and strong. Logan Webb, on the other hand, it just wasn't his day. We ended up seeing the Yankees winning that one 7-0. It was on Netflix. Let me know your guys' thoughts on Netflix having MLB games. Lots of controversy right now around that. So going into everything, we've got a great slate, and I've got a great guest. I've got Dave Ross from VSiN stepping in. He's going to go over everything. But first, you guys know the deal. Let's get into the money movers, because this is where we track what the market is actually doing, not what people are just saying out there. So money mover number one, Sweet 16 line inflation, recency bias. This is huge, you guys. The market is currently pricing what just happened, not what is coming next. Blowout winners are currently getting inflated, and this is where the value starts to show on the other side. Look for teams that dominated in round one and round two. Look at those lines. Look at how they're getting bet up. Books often will shade these lines slightly higher, knowing the public will like to roll with these teams with what they saw in round one and round two. Now, when we look at what the market movers are out there, number two, you're looking at those public teams still getting bet up. That's Duke, UConn, and Arizona. Public bets names, right? They don't bet those numbers. So definitely another way that you've got to look when you're looking at the slate for the Sweet 16. Now, there's also total market corrections on those totals. When you look at those totals, we know in round one, round two, we're isolating those unders because, well, the public loves the overs. Now the books have reacted. They've made those lines a lot sharper here in Sweet 16. We're going to have to look now for if we like the first half unders, but if the books have overcorrected, and we're starting to look at maybe taking some overs out there. So there's so much to go over in the Sweet 16 action. Also, MLB Opening Day. Opening Day is one of the best over bet days in MLB, right? Everyone's coming in. There's future money coming in. You're going to see the books reacting in that way as well. So lots of public money coming in on teams like the Dodgers. Last night we saw it with the Yankees as well. We're going to see those favorites being bet up. Public's going to want to jump in. Everyone's excited for opening day. We got to be smart. We've got to isolate the dogs in situations where they have the possibility of getting the win. You've also got to remember, it's cold weather in a lot of these places. In fields that normally see a lot of home runs, they see that ball flying out. That's in the midsummer kind of days, you guys, and not early spring action. So lots of totals we can look at as well. In the NBA, you got to remember that money mover right now is teams. It's motivation. It's who's looking for the number one draft pick. It's who's pushing, who's looking for a seeding place. So there's NBA to be broken down. And in the NHL, it's playoff urgency right now for some of these teams trying to hold on to those wild card spots. You've also got teams sitting at the top of their division. What's their motivation to come out, get those wins, especially when they're sitting comfortable at the top of their division? So lots of things to look at. That's what's moving in the market and where the value shows. Follow the money, you guys, not the noise out there at all. And definitely don't follow what everyone's doing over on Twitter. In college hoops, these are my money movers, okay? So in college hoops, Arkansas plus the points. In the Sweet 16 here, Arizona is getting inflated. We're seeing that line pushing up to 9.5. I did see 8.5 and 9.5 did pop for just a second. In MLB, be careful of the favorites on the money line, as well as the run line. And in the NBA, those big favorites out there, those lines are getting stretched because of the motivation they need to win, but you're still getting scrappy underdogs covering those lines. And in the NHL, I'm backing teams with urgency, and we'll get into that later. The Edmonton Oilers tonight have the urgency to get the win, battling it out in the Pacific with the Vegas Golden Knights. So different sports, but you guys, same mindset. Follow the numbers. We're not just blindly betting these games, but let's bring in my guest, Dave Ross of VSiN, to break everything down we need to know. Dave, how's Thursday treating you?
Oh, it's treated me very well, Joe. Great to be with you again. And yeah, it's kind of nice. Very different from Vegas last time we talked out here in Tennessee on the Tennessee-Kentucky border at the new Circus Sports. But it's been fantastic to watch kind of the growth here in this area, Joe, because they're just getting accustomed to sports gambling actually at a brick and mortar shop instead of just on your app and on your phone. So it's nice to see people going back to a sports book, watching sporting events and betting sporting events again.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you do your show right out of the casino there.
Yeah.
When can people catch it live if they're coming into the casino and then on air as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always catch it 7 to 10 Eastern time here. And that is Monday through Friday here with me and Jensen Lewis. Love working with Jensen every day, former major leaguer, back with the Cleveland Indians, now the Cleveland Guardians. So we're heavy into baseball this time of year, Joe. But, with the Sweet 16 upon us and, golf season and, me with UFC. And, of course, we're getting ready for the NHL and the NBA playoffs. Can't get enough of it. So it's fun to see people coming into the casino, especially last week to see March Madness. For the first time, the place was packed. Saw Kentucky with the game tying shot with the 3 at the buzzer to force overtime with Santa Clara, and the whole place erupted, Joe, in this neck of the woods. All these Kentucky fans, so it was really cool to see them live and in person.
The round of 64 and the round of 32, Dave, were absolutely insane. We saw favorites go 39-9 straight up, 29-19 against the spread. That was the fewest straight up dogs since 2018, right? And then the second fewest in the last 20 years. Do you expect that in the round of 6 or the Sweet 16?
I hope not, Joe. I want some madness. I want some chaos. I want more of these dogs to bite a little bit. So, as you mentioned, we've only got one number one knocked out here with Florida losing to Iowa. Of course, Iowa taking on Nebraska tonight. I do kind of like the small favorite in this one in Nebraska. I feel like Iowa right now is a team that a lot of people think that they can carry that over from Florida. I'm not so sure. If you watch that Nebraska Vanderbilt game to get to the Sweet 16 here, I thought that was one of the best games we've seen so far in the tournament. I think what Fred Hoiberg's done with Nebraska basketball, with 0 wins in the history of the school program going into March Madness this year, and with 2 already under their in their ledger here, I think they're going to make it 3, Joe. And I do think some of the other dogs will bark. But as a small favorite laying the 1.5 here with Nebraska, that's one of my favorite plays so far that we have in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and we're starting to see a couple of those books popping at 2 there. So you definitely want to get them laying the 1.5 currently. Nebraska has to find a way to get their offensive second chances, though. They haven't been strong on the glass. Do you think that's something that they can improve on in this matchup then?
Great. It's a great point, Joe. I think they're more of I don't want to say, live by the 3, die by the 3, but they're going to spread you out. I think that's what Nebraska wants to do. And I'm not going to say that they're going to cede the territory inside to Iowa, but they better be knocking down their threes. I think if they knock down the threes, they win. And if they don't, good luck getting those second chances. Plus, I think when they spread you out and shoot it from deep, it helps out their transition defense. They get back that way too. So if they miss their shots, they're going to have to rely on their defense a little bit. I don't know how much they can win that offensive territory here to win the offensive rebounding. So Nebraska, knock down threes, you're moving on to the Elite 8.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how Iowa responds to that, if they're able to come out and hit those threes as well. That one, interesting to see. That total has fired down from 134 to 132.5. I could see maybe it sneaking over. And if you guys start to see those threes missing to start that game, the total is going to drop, and it's going to drop quick, Dave. So
yeah, I love that handicap, Joe. Maybe wait a little bit, because I think if you saw some 131s, 131.5s, I'm where your head's at too. I would look to the over coming back here, especially fouling down the stretch, as we know can creep that over the total. But right now, yeah, and look at that first half over too. Maybe these teams know each other. They played twice already in conference, so the feeling out process, we already know each other, right? So let's get after it here. I think that might come out a little bit firing here on more cylinders than people might think.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with the split in the regular season. But then the first game to tip off is Texas versus Purdue. And we got to talk about Texas. First 4 in, them pulling off 2 crazy upsets. get here to the Sweet 16, take on Purdue. They're now up to an 8.5-point dog on some of these books. Majority holding at 7.5, but an 8.5 has popped. What do you think of Texas's chance to keep their run alive?
All right, Joe, in full disclosure, Texas, Sean Miller, I'm mad at you guys. You busted my bracket with Gonzaga. Gonzaga was my team I really liked out of the North, right? Yeah, they crushed me there. And I will say I liked them against NC State. I liked them in the second round matchup, moving on to take on the Zags with the points. Didn't think they'd get the outright win. And now I'm looking at this team and going, wow, they've already won 3 games. Can they make it 4? I don't like that line movement. I'll tell you this. I lean towards Sean Miller. I look at coaching at this time of the year. Matt Painter, I think, has done a very good job with Purdue. You know, he gets the bad rap with some early exits in the in his tournament history at Purdue. They did get to a national championship game not that long ago, right? Just 2 years ago. So it's not like Matt Painter that happens every year. But I do give Sean Miller the coaching edge here. If he can muck this up a little bit, Braden Smith is the ultimate alpha in this game here at running the point for Purdue. So you love his leadership that he brings. But short of that, if Texas doesn't let Braden Smith go nuts for 30 plus, I think they're right in this game. I really do. So to me, let that line keep going up, people. And I'll take the points here with Texas, especially the 8.5. Boy, if I hear a 9, Joe, I couldn't resist rebetting that thing. I like Texas to keep this close. Can they win it? I didn't think they could beat Gonzaga. They proved me wrong there, but I'll take the points again. And I think that it's going to be a 1 or 2 possession game.
Yeah, they absolutely crushed everyone beating Gonzaga in that one. I didn't expect it. I thought, first 4 in, they got that nice win over NC State. I didn't see them taking out BYU. So they've just been steamrolling. I'm looking at that total, 146.5 on some of the books right now. There's 147s as well. I think this one goes under that total. So if you can get a 147.5, you guys, right now, that's definitely somewhere I would be looking to jump. So 2 other games on deck. Arkansas and Arizona. Arizona now up to an 8.5-point favorite. They were a 7.5-point favorite for the majority of the last couple of days. Do you think, like I do, that Arizona is just being bet too high in this matchup? Because Arkansas, they're live.
Absolutely. They might have the best singular player left in the tournament as well. And I talk about coaching here, Joe. With all due respect to Tommy Lloyd, how much respect can you really garner right now when you haven't won anything yet here at Arizona? And where is he a disciple of? Mark Few from Gonzaga. And what's happened with Mark Few in some tournaments, right? Come up a little bit short, at least for the longer runs that you expect. This is normally where Tommy Lloyd, Arizona, runs into problems. And Acuff Jr. might be the singular best player remaining in the NCAA tournament. So I get it. Arizona's got more depth. They have more height inside. But the coaching matchup, I think John Calipari, they're playing with house money, Joe. They're having fun out there. It's loose. Let it fly. Let Acuff do his thing. Keep building his resume to be the #1 pick in the NBA draft in June. I think Arkansas is that team you don't want to play because they went out and won the SEC tournament when nobody thought they'd do that, right? So house money, I think a little bit for Arkansas. If it gets tight, I think that certainly favors Arkansas and not Arizona. Give me all those points. I think Arkansas is live to pull the outright upset in this one.
Yeah, I absolutely do as well. This is not a team that I wanted to see facing up versus Arizona because I have Arizona to take the national championship, Dave. So I'm looking to hedge out on this. I've come in big on Arkansas in this game, trying to hedge out that bet. And it is because of Calipari here and his coaching ability. You look at him as an underdog in tournament games, only 13 times he's gone 9-3-1 against the spread. 7-0 against the spread while with Arkansas and Kentucky, and a 7-1 against the spread as a dog of 4 more points. So I think he's completely live in the big dance here.
I did too. And I'll tell you this, Joe, you might get a happy medium there, right? So hopefully for you, Arizona squeaks out a win. Don't cover the big number. Bang, bang. You move on to the Elite Eight and you cash your ticket as well.
In perfect situations, that's exactly what will happen tonight, Dave. But the late night action tonight, Illinois versus Houston. Houston still holding as that 2.5-point favorite. Do you think their defense could get it done tonight?
Here's the interesting about this game, Joe. It's probably outside of Nebraska, my second strongest play on the board that I like tonight. And look, I went to VCU. It's my alma mater. And I mean, Illinois just wrecked our dreams there. And obviously, Nick Taylor getting hurt in the first 30 seconds, our best player. That didn't help. But clearly Illinois was the better team in that matchup. And they've looked like, I don't want to say they're underseeded because they're a 3 seed. So they've gotten respect out there in the marketplace, or at least in the committee's eyes. I really like Illinois to win this game outright. You can find them about plus $1.35 out there in the money line here, Joe. And the deal is, look, the committee did them no favors. You're playing, it's a de facto home game for Houston in Houston tonight. But that defense that you alluded to for Kelvin Sampson, it's not as good as what we've seen in years past from traditional Kelvin Sampson type teams. So I think Illinois is going to run them. I think they're going to get out there like thoroughbreds and run some more and see if that defense can keep up. And I don't know that they can. I really like the over in this game sitting at 140 as well. I think we're getting two teams in the 70s. Houston can score more than what they've done in the past too. So while it might seem a little bit out of character for them, I think you're going to get a higher tempoed game, higher scoring game, and that's going to favor the Illini. Take the points if you can still find threes. As you mentioned, 2.5s mostly out there. But I do like them in the money line here. And I think if I can't beat them, join them. Let's go, Illinois. Let's move on to the Elite Eight.
Okay, rolling with Illinois there. Now we've got 4 games on deck in the Sweet 16 tomorrow. We got St. John's rolling in as a 6.5 or 7-point dog versus Duke. We know the public loves to get behind Duke, but look at the coaching matchup in that one. Are you buying in on Rick Pitino and the Johnnies?
Hard not to, right, Joe? I mean, I hope when I get to Slicky Ricky's age that I can enjoy life as much as it seems like he's enjoying life, right? He's, they get the winner at the buzzer to beat Kansas, and he doesn't even react. He just casually turns. Like, it just looks like he's seen everything, done everything, the dean of college basketball at this stage. And he looks like he's having fun. His kids look like they're having fun. And again, kind of with tightness. John Shire, excellent job replacing Coach K. And Duke is a powerhouse for real. And we know they're kind of the overall number one coming into this thing. But if you get a knockdown, drag-out fight with somebody, you don't want that to be with St. John's. Those guys will fight you tooth and nail. So the lower the scoring is, and I think we expect it to be kind of a low-scoring affair, I think that favors the Johnnies. If it's more skilled, if it's more in the open court, that would favor Duke. So watch how the officials call this game here. If they let them play, then I think that's certainly an advantage to St. John's. They call it tight, ticky-tack. Favorite to Duke there, but I do like the Johnnies taking the points here, and what I think should be a nip-tuck affair.
Yeah, it should be a great one. You do have to love the storyline with the Boozer brothers out there for Duke, though. But 3 other games on deck tomorrow. We've got a really high total between Alabama and Michigan. We got Michigan State and UConn, and then Tennessee versus Iowa State. Which one of the 3 catches your eye the most?
Sparty, Joe. Give me Sparty plus a bucket. I'll take it every time with T to the Izzo. 2 great coaches, right? Danny Hurley. We talk about the coaching now. When you get to the Sweet 16, it really does matter who that head coach is. So you have 2 guys that won't give you an inch in Danny Hurley, who is maniacal. And I say that in the most maniacal, positive way possible in college basketball terms. But I think Izzo, talking about seen it and done it all, I think he's got some tricks up his sleeve. I actually think they're better than UConn. So barring some crash out from the 3-point line, Michigan State can score more than what we're accustomed to in years past. That's my favorite game tomorrow night. And I like just watching that whole region, right? When you're looking at the deans of coaching, Duke and St. John's, and then Michigan State and UConn. What a great foursome they're going to get in Washington, D.C. in that East region. But I like Sparty to come out of it.
Oh, I absolutely love that you're going there. You can grab them +2 right now, you guys, or on that money line for some great plus money. We got to talk. It is MLB Opening Day. We saw the game last night on Netflix. Are you a buyer on the games on Netflix, Dave? I got to ask.
Not so much, right? I'm like the old man on the lawn now, right? Get off my lawn with this Netflix stuff. The production took a little bit of warming up to do, shall we say, if we're going to be nice about it, Joe. I get it. Like, I've worked in TV for a long time. You want to show off all the bells and whistles, and you want to show everybody, look at us, and we're the new kids on the block. Maybe a little bit much, right? With baseball, there's a certain cadence and a flow to a baseball game. It's still about the game and not about everything else. So just remember what it is, Netflix, and I think you'll be okay. So I'll give them a pass on the maiden voyage here, but I don't think we're going to see them again until the home run derby. Hopefully they learn from some of these mistakes on opening day. I love this time of year, right? When you get March Madness, Sweet 16, baseball starting on opening day in earnest today on a Thursday, doesn't get a whole lot better than this time of the year.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't. And games have already got underway, you guys. We currently have the Mets leading the Pirates a 7-4. We got the Brewers up 4-1 over the White Sox. That is an early game. That's still only the bottom of the third. And then the Cubs and the Nationals tied things up. What are you looking at for the later slate? We saw the Yankees dominate last night versus the Giants. Max Fried looked great. Logan Webb had his struggles. We got the Dodgers in action tonight versus the Diamondbacks. Yamamoto versus Zach Allen. Do you think Zach Allen can have a better season than last?
Oh, you read my mind, Joe. This is exactly where I was going because we know about Yamamoto, right? You win the World Series MVP. Broke my heart as somebody sitting on a big ticket on Toronto 20-1. And I'm like, that guy's going to pitch game 7. Didn't he just pitch game 6? Sure he did. And a heroic performance coming out of the bullpen, wins MVP and earned every bit of it. So I want to see what he looks like this year. Like sometimes there is a carryover effect. And I know it's been months now since the World Series, but how many of those innings, how taxing does it get for using all those starters the way they did? And sometimes when you win multiple World Series like the Dodgers had, you're playing almost an extra 3 months combined from the last 2 years than everybody else. So look, I get it. They're bulletproof. They did it again last year. Can they really do 3 years in a row? Not so sure. At some point, it starts to wear on you a little bit. Freddie Freeman's getting a little bit older. Mookie Betts getting a little bit older. I know they just got Kyle Tucker, so that helps out here. But at some point, Father Time is undefeated. So I'd like to see if they could take a slight step back. Zach Gallen, what a great question. I thought he was so underwhelming last year for Arizona. You go to the World Series a couple years ago, and he's dynamic in that run. So which Zach Gallen is it? Is it last year's version? They were trying to trade him at the deadline, apparently, and now he's your opening day starter. If Arizona is going to be able to hang with the big boys in the NL West, and I think the Giants will be just fine long term. I think the Padres will be good again. Where is Arizona? I'm not quite sure. Zach Gallen will go a long way to determine how good they are if he is truly their ace.
Yeah, we're going to see what he can bring to the table tonight. Don't forget, you guys, public money is going to come in heavy on the Dodgers in this one. You got to lay 1.5 to even lay slate juice at -126. I'd rather trust in the Diamondbacks to have some sort of fight in this one, +1.5 at +105 on the run line. Logan Gilbert's in action for the Seattle Mariners as well. Late night action. He was one of those pitchers that could keep games low scoring. That one has the lowest total of the day, 6.5, Dave. It's crazy.
Yeah. That pitching staff, Joe, I mean, just pick your poison, right? 1 through 4 with Seattle. I was looking at like Cy Young markets, and you want to go with Wu rather is like 17-1. I think Gilbert's around 20-1. You got guys everywhere 40-1, 65-1. I mean, you rarely see 4 starting pitchers on the first page, if you will, for Cy Young. That's how good this Seattle roster and this staff truly is. Look, the question is always going to be, do they get enough hitting? You couldn't have gotten any more from the big dumper in Cal Raleigh last year, and he still couldn't win MVP, which I can't believe they didn't give it to him. Like, just trade Cal Raleigh and put him in pinstripes in New York and put Aaron Judge in Seattle. You know who the MVP would have been. It would have been Cal Raleigh in New York, right? So Judge is great. We get all that. But can Cal Raleigh really duplicate that type season, Joe? I'm not sure he can. So the pitching's great in Seattle, but the age-old question, will they hit enough? I think that'll be a big one tonight, and that's why you're seeing that total so low at 6.5.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Definitely like the Nerfy in that one. But Dave, I've kept you forever here on Madden on the Line. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Can you let everyone know where they can catch you on social media as well as your show?
Absolutely. At D-Ross Sports on IG and on X, Twitter, whatever they call it. You know me, Joe. As long as people don't take themselves too seriously, hit me up there. I like to have a good time. I like to laugh a little bit out there at the craziness that is social media. Always a pleasure to join you, Joe. Best of luck, and I'm enjoying the new show.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate your time today. You guys head on over, give Dave Ross a follow. Make sure you check out all of his shows over on VSiN. He's absolutely crushing it on the daily, as you guys can see. But looking back into the March Madness, we're going to go over a couple of things that I'm liking. It's time to get into my card for the day, you guys. I have NHL, NBA for you, as well as the Madness. So let's look at the Sweet 16 games right now with Texas and Purdue, I have to go for this one to go for the under. Now, you want to jump on these lines right away. This game is tipping off at 7:10 Eastern tonight. We're seeing that opening total was 148.5. We're starting to see 146.5 starting to pop at some of these books. You want to shop those lines. You can get the best of the value right now is a 147.5. So definitely look for that. I do expect both of these teams to come out and struggle to go over that number. When we look at Iowa versus Nebraska, I did take Iowa to pull off the upset. Dave Ross is rolling with Nebraska in that case. I struggle to take Nebraska just because of their ability to get those offensive rebounds. If they're not giving themselves the second chances, I do think they'll have some struggles tonight. As for Arkansas versus Arizona, like I told you guys, I'm all over Arkansas in this case. Grab them plus the 8.5. I did sprinkle a little bit on them on the money line. Calipari, their head coach, has the ability to pull off a win here versus Arizona. I know I told you guys I've got Arizona to take the national championship, but I am terrified for them tonight as I do think Arkansas is live. They're barking and they're ready to take out Arizona. Illinois and Houston, I stayed off this one, you guys. I do think Dave is right. We're going to have a back and forth battle, one that sneaks over that total. We are seeing 139.5. As for tomorrow's slate, St. John's versus Dukes. It's all about the Johnnies for me. I've got St. John's plus the 6.5. Now, there are a couple sevens out there. So buy-in has come here on Duke, but I do think St. John's has every ability to pull it off because of their coaching with Rick Pitino. I also would look at them straight up on the money line for that fantastic plus money. I think they can get it done. Now, Alabama and Michigan. Interesting to note this total sitting at 173.5, 172.5 on some of the books as well. This is one of the highest totals out there, and I do think we'll see Alabama hitting those threes. Can Michigan keep up in this game? Well, Michigan is a favorite. So you look at Michigan, you're expecting points out of both of these teams. I targeted a team total for Alabama, taking their team total to the over. As long as their threes are hitting, and we know they live or die by those threes, they have the ability to go over that team total, and I like it. I've also got Michigan State. I love Tom Izzo as well. I think they win it outright versus UConn. So everyone looking for that St. John's UConn matchup in the round of 8. I just don't see it happening. I think Michigan State's going to be able to get it done. And then Tennessee versus Iowa State. You guys remember, we don't have to bet every game. That is one of the games that I just want to stay off. When we look at the ice tonight, we've got a great matchup and one in which you want to look here. I stress thoroughly when you look at the ice, you want to look at goalies and how they've done versus some teams. We got a battle in the Central, the Colorado Avalanche versus the Winnipeg Jets. Colorado's almost a $2 favorite. They're first in the Central. The Winnipeg Jets are sitting 6. I know a lot of people are going to think Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Martin Necas will come in here for the Colorado Avalanche, get them the win. Could it happen? Yes, but you got to look at what Connor Hellebuck has been able to do versus Colorado as of late. Career-wise, he has a 2.65 goals against average and a 919 save percentage versus Colorado. Great numbers. On the season, though, he's gone 18, 19, and 11. He's got a 2.81 goals against average and a save percentage below 900. Not great, but the last 2 meetings versus Colorado, you guys, he's recorded shutouts. The one prior to those 2 shutouts, he only allowed 2 goals on 32 shots. So Connor Hellebuck can beat Colorado. These teams also face up versus each other on Saturday, and I do think we're going to see them trade back wins. So I'm looking for the Winnipeg Jets at plus 150 to get the win. We have seen line movement. They were a plus 160 underdog last night, moving down to that plus 150. Mackenzie Blackwood will be between the pipes for the Colorado Avalanche. The second game I'm looking at, the Washington Capitals versus the Utah Mammoth. The Washington Capitals rolling in 6 in the Metro. Ovi is hungry to get his team to the playoffs. They've been struggling, not being able to put up a lot of goals as of late. The Utah Mammoth are coming in here sitting 4th in the Central. I'm looking for them to struggle to score on Logan Thompson. Logan Thompson has great numbers on the season. He's got a 915 save percentage, a 2.35 goals against average, going 24-20. I'm looking for him to stand on his head. Vanacek on the other side, not as good of numbers, but but Washington hasn't been putting the puck in the back of the net a lot. They've only got 13 goals over the last 7 games. I'm rolling with this one to go under 6.5. I always love the Washington Capitals in the first period to win that first period on the money line. But I think because this one is a lower scoring one, instead of looking at Capitals money line, I'd look at the first period under 1.5 goals. As we turn to the NBA, because you guys know I got it all for you tonight, we got the Kings versus the Magic, and we talked about the NBA. We talked about teams needing to win for our money movers and where those lines are going. Now, the Orlando Magic, they need this win tonight, but they're a 15.5-point favorite. They've lost their last 6, you guys. They've been struggling. They're facing up a Kings team that has been tanking. They've allowed 22 or more points in their last 3 games. Instead of laying the 15.5 with the Orlando Magic, I'm coming in with the Orlando Magic's team total to the over 123.5. I'm counting on Banchero to have a big night. We know we're dealing with injuries on both sides of the ball. Banchero for the Orlando Magic over 24.5 points, I think has to make your card as well, because you look at him, his ability to hit those threes, the offense is running through him for the Orlando Magic. He's coming off games with 35 plus in his last 2. And he'll have to get the workload because of those injuries out there. Banchero can't sit. We also can't see him sit in that fourth quarter because the Magic somehow lose this one. They are currently sitting 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. They can't be sitting 9th or 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. They need to make a huge push. So that's what I'm liking in the NBA. It's Banchero over his 24.5 points. The Orlando Magic over there, 123.5 points. And when we turn to MLB, this one, 4:10 Eastern. So it's coming up right away, you guys. We got the Boston Red Sox versus the Cincinnati Reds. And I'm rolling with the under 8.5. These are 2 lineups that can be absolutely potent. And we talked about money movers. We talked about totals at the start of the show. And you have to be very careful because it's spring. And I know here in Cincinnati, we see the ball fly out of the park. But that's in 90 degrees, 90% humidity days, not in early spring when we're going to see that wind going right across the field. So be very careful with that total. I'm rolling with it under the 6.5. You've got Garrett Crochet coming out here for the Boston Red Sox. He's got a 2.59 ERA from last season and a 1.03 whip. And then Andrew Abbott from Cincy has a 2.87 ERA and a 1.15 whip. I'm really high on Abbott this season. I do think those numbers from last season will only improve this one. So you guys, that's going to end it for today's episode of Madden On The Line. A big thanks to Dave Ross of VSiN for joining us here today. The Sweet 16 is where the tournament sharpens and where the best opportunities show up from bettors who stay disciplined. Remember, don't bet every game. If you don't like a line, just stay off of it, you guys. With the MLB kicking off and the board only getting bigger, don't chase the chaos, follow the numbers. I'm Jo Madden. Thanks for watching Madden On The Line. We'll see you again here next time.
There's more happening behind the headlines, and you deserve the full story. At Biz Talk Today TV, we break down investing, government moves, entertainment business, and even sports gambling, all in one place. Real conversations, smart insights, content that helps you think smarter and stay ahead. Thousands are tuning in. Don't miss what's next. Subscribe now to Biz Talk Today TV on YouTube and join the conversation shaping the future.